Ron is probably not a real common name like Mike or John or anything like that, but we had 2 staff people by the name of Ron and 2 residents by the name of Ron. So when someone called out, "Hey, Ron," everybody's going, "Yeah, what?" So because people didn't know how to pronounce my last name, I was tagged with Ron D, and that's been my name for, I don't know, 33 years. It's my keepsake from this place, you know? I was employed at the Cayuga Home for Children as a group care worker, working in Emerson Cottage. This was back in the 80s, and during that time period, we were called house parents. We wanted it to be kind of like a family situation: aunt, uncle, house parent, etc. Basic groundwork of our campus, we have 3 units. May Cottage is the oldest, and it was built first. Emerson Cottage and Cowan Cottage were identical. They looked like they were more of a dorm setup style than May Cottage was. But the upper level was the dormitory area where their bedroom was. And we always wanted the kids to appropriately make it their room. This is your room that you're going to be here for 6 to 12 months. We want it to be your room. Be appropriate in what you hang up and how you decorate it. But we wanted them to individualize their room and make them feel at home. A lot of the kids came from dysfunctioning families. Their parents were probably had dysfunctioning families. So the cycle continued. We tried to teach them the basics: laundry, personal hygiene, stuff that we take for granted. These kids didn't. How to eat properly. A lot of kids would hoard food because they didn't have a lot of food at home. So they would hide stuff out of the way. And then we try to find how the kid can excel. We would try to come up with a treatment plan to make little Johnny be successful, whether that's just hygiene, learning how to speak, proper etiquette. A lot of kids would come in here with raw language, F this, F that, but they were learned that. They were taught that by their whoever they lived with. The big goal is to make these kids feel safe. We had some of the small programs that taught kids how to cook. It was our life skills program, and we would team up 3 kids, and I think it was a Thursday night, they would cook the meal for the entire cottage. They would go ahead, plan a program of all the essential food groups and all that. We'd take them to a grocery store. They would buy the stuff. They'd come back, do the prep work, and then do the actual cleaning or cooking. And then afterwards, they're responsible to clean up the mess that they make. So we try to teach them those simple skills that, like I said earlier, you take for granted, but the kids never had an opportunity to. So that was a good thing. And some of these kids are good cooks. When I first started here, We had a campus BOCES school that was upstairs in the main building that had about 5 kids. The rest of the kids that we had here, they went to public schools. The majority of the kids did not excel in school. A lot of the kids that came here placed was based on PINS, person in need of supervision. So school wasn't their strong point. We got permission to have Auburn Enlarged School District to be an on-campus school in the basements of all 3 programs. And that was a huge step. You had first of all, it was a smaller classroom, maybe no more than 10. The teachers were very good, and they would have a teacher's aide with them, and then you would have at least 1 group care worker in each program. So you had 3 adults tending a small classroom. A lot of kids took advantage of that type of schooling. I remember one point in particular, it was towards the end of the school year. There was a youth, I noticed that she was crying. And I'm looking at her and she kept on crying. And she goes, "Rondi, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Sure." So I brought her out in the hallway and she's crying. And she's got papers wrinkled up in her hand. She goes, "Take a look at this." It was her report card. I opened it up, unwrinkled it and all that. And I said, "Okay, what's wrong?" She goes, "I passed everything." This was the first time she passed all of her classes. To me, it didn't matter what the grades were, but she passed everything. And those were genuine tears coming down her eyes. And God, that was maybe 15 years ago, and I remember that to this day. And a lot of kids were proud that they made honor roll. It was still Auburn High School curriculum that they followed. Maybe not as black and white, but we were geared to make sure that the kids felt good about themselves and that they started to get a different feeling for school. Even with us being on campus, we were still associated with Auburn High School. So we encourage kids to go out to football, basketball, baseball, the basics. And they enjoyed that normalcy of being a part of the school. Matter of fact, we had one individual from Rochester. He was on the Auburn High School team that won the sectionals back in, I don't know how long ago, maybe early 2008, 2009. And he was a part of that championship that went to the Carrier Dome and won it. So that was good. And because he was on all these playoff games, we took the kids to the game and stuff like that, and he had his own rooting section. One of the benefits that I saw as our agency progressed is we did more work with the families. And the families, needed training to become better parents. So hopefully they'll know how to handle their child once they got home. It was difficult for some, but I think even though they resisted a little at first, I think for the most part, the families really appreciated the work, the social workers, coordinators, and did their best to help them become better parents. Because obviously, they may have not had the best parents, as they were growing up. And it's unfortunately that bad cycle. It continues. I'm hoping that the neighbors that lived around here recognized that we were doing the best that we can to help rehabilitate these kids. So there were some difficult times, but I think for the most part, I think the neighbors could say, hey, they're trying. And our facility, for a lack of a better word, we're right here in the community. We're not located on the outskirts of the city. We don't have any fences. We're a non-secured facility right in the middle of town. So, I mean, I think we should be proud of that.